Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today from across the United States and around the world. My name is Elliot Horlick, and I am the founder of American Friends of Afeka, a nonprofit organization in the United States that is dedicated to supporting Afeka College in Tel Aviv, one of Israel's leading engineering institutions. While this conversation is deeply personal for the Afeka community, it reflects a much broader challenge facing universities and colleges across Israel today. Since October 7th, tens of thousands of Israeli students have served for extended periods of time in reserve duty. Many have returned to campus carrying invisible wounds while trying to rebuild their lives and resume their academic studies. Supporting these student reservists has become one of the most urgent challenges facing Israeli higher education today. During this webinar, we are going to have an honest conversation about what that support looks like, what more needs to be done, and what institutions like Afeka College owe the young men and women who have given so much. We are joined today by two voices who approach this topic from deeply personal and complementary perspectives. Professor Yossi Rosenwaks is the president of Afeka College. Professor Rosenwaks has led Afeka College's efforts to support its student reservists through the past several years of war. Tom Wasserstein is the brother of Roi Wasserstein, an Afeka student and reservist who died by suicide following his service in Gaza. Tom has worked to honor his brother's memory by fostering open conversations about mental health and supporting initiatives for returning reservists at Afeka College and across Israel. We will also be hearing later in this webinar from a current Afeka student, Omer, who will share his firsthand experience of navigating service and academic studies during wartime. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the community of supporters who make Afeka's work possible, including the programs and initiatives that are supporting student reservists through what has been an extraordinarily difficult period. The work that Afeka College is doing, from mental health support and academic flexibility to direct engagement with students and their families, does not happen without the generosity of people like you. If you believe in Afeka's mission and want to support its students during this critical time, we encourage you to get involved. Please see the link in the chat and the QR code on your screens to learn more about how you can contribute. Your support makes a real difference. Returning to Professor Yossi Rosenwaks, the president of Afeka College. Yossi, before we talk about specific initiatives or personal stories, please help us understand the bigger picture. What has this war meant for Israel's student reservists, and why has supporting their return to Afeka's campus become such an important challenge for higher education?
Okay, thank you very much for this introduction, Elliot, and thank you for what you're doing for Afeka. So thank you everyone for joining us, and good morning. It's good evening in Israel. And I'll start right away by describing the challenge. It's a huge challenge. This last war, the Gaza war and partly Lebanon and war, is a completely different challenge from what we're used to. First, the length of the war. The length of the war, it's almost 3 years now. It's very, very different from all other wars and very unusual for what we've used to. I can say from a personal point of view that I was a soldier in the first Lebanon war. The challenge was completely different, and we'll talk about the challenge a little bit later on. The main issue that we faced in Afeka right after the war started is how long it takes a student, a reservist student, to get back into normal or to get back into studies. And this is the most difficult task. We realized very fast that this is a personal issue. So to one student, it takes 2 weeks, and for other students, it can take even more. And the most difficult challenge is especially for first-year students, where the pace of the studies is very, very difficult and very, very fast. So we understood very quickly that this is a huge challenge for us. And it's not only involved the academic support, which we did, and I'll describe it in a minute. It's also meant to us that we need to initiate community-based support And probably the most important point, we learned very fast that we have to treat the student as a person and not as an academic entity.
Thank you. And turning now to Tom Wasserstein. Tom, thank you so much for being here. We'd like to hear a little bit more about Roy. Can you please tell us who he was, what he was like, what drew him to engineering, and what his service looks like, and share with us what happened after he returned home?
I thank you, everybody. I'm Tom. I'm the bigger brother of Roi. Roi was the little one from, we are five brothers. Um, Roi, I remember this, that he asked me what to going to learn after he finish his army, after 3 years, like all the Israelis guys do. I tell him that I think it's the best to be an engineer because it's give you a big place to work. You can found a good jobs, and also he was very very good in this. He hear about this. He tell me that he will try to study, but in the October 7, the war started. The army called him to come back to the army like everybody is. We was a combat medic. So in the October 7, I took him to the army, and he was there like 2 months in the first time. After this, he come back and start to learn in Afeka. I remember that he tell me how difficult it is to come back from the war and start to study sitting in the class, go back to the war. It's like 300 days he make like this in about, I think, 2 years. You don't know when it stopped, but I remember him like my little brothers that come here and bring with him steaks, and we make a barbecue with my little daughters, and he play with them, and all the fun, go to the swimming pool. And was life here. We have in the middle of war, but everybody tell you, yes, I am okay. Also, Roy, tell me, listen, I am okay. He was a big guy. He is like 120 kilo of muscles. He every day go to the gym. All of his friends make on him like what he said, what his clothes, what the music he hear, all his friends want to be like Rui. He was the leader. And last year, like really 1 year ago, we found him in my parents' house. He had suicide. We didn't believe it can be happen, but we understand he suffered from post-trauma. So it's very difficult for me to talk about this. I do this like a lot of times, but every time it's very difficult. But after he died, I understand that it's not only the man, how he look like, it's how he feel like. And they are all the time shying to show this and speak about this.
Thank you for sharing with us. Yossi, as Tom said, Roy was an Afeka student, and you met with Roy's family. So after meeting with them and listening to Afeka students, How did those conversations change the way that Afeka thinks about supporting its student reservists?
Yeah, thank you, Elliot. So I came into office in August, a year ago, August 25, and 1 or 2 months after I came into office, I met Tom's family. Tom, his mother and his father, and a few other post-traumatic students from Afeka. And I asked them, after you hear Tom and his father, you cannot stay apathetic. You immediately feel something. And I asked them, both the family and the students, we asked them, how can we help you? What will be the biggest help that we can help you with? And they said, the students and also Tom said very simple thing. We need the thing that will help most the post-traumatic students will be to create a space, a quiet space that the students, the reservist students mainly, can be isolated from the noise of the campus and from the everyday life of the campus. And I took the challenge immediately, and with the support, a very good friend of mine, Professor David Zeidman from Northwestern University, he donated us the money that was enough to create what we call Ohel Rei. Ohel in Hebrew is a tent. So I really thank the Zeidman family, who I know for many years, and also some other supporters from Israel. And we created a space, and it's a very modern tent with air conditioning inside and with a sofa and with TV and very, very well equipped tent. And what is done there every day, it's mainly well-being activities for the post-traumatic students, a place where they can relax, listen to music, make yoga lessons and other activities of the Dean of Students. So this is, I think, it's the first of its kind in an Israeli institute, maybe the first of its kind in the world. And we really hope that other colleges and universities will follow this very, very important initiative.
Thank you. Returning back to Tom, Tom, losing Roy could have been something that broke you, and instead you have channeled it into advocacy and action. What are you trying to build, and what would success look like for you over the coming years for Israel student reservists, for its colleges, and for the system as a whole?
Yes, the losing for Roi, it's something that broke me. I can't even tell you how much it's broke me. Like every day that I go to work and driving and I be alone, I think on Roi. But I can leave it for myself and cry at home and do nothing, or try to build something from this. I understand that people don't like to share. I can share with you that I now with a hat, not because I have a sun on my head. 3 years ago, I got cancer. Uh, and I need to cut my hair. I was like 50 centimeter long hair. And now I try back to make, to go back my hair. But when the doctor tell me I have a cancer, I have two ways to work with this. One, leave it to myself, or two, tell everybody that know me about this. I think it was normal to tell my friends that I have a cancer. But the the guys that come back from the army, they don't feel like it's okay to share that they are afraid, that they are crying, that they are feel something different before and now. So I try to change this feeling in every place that I can go. To make it normal, speak about difficult. Make it normal to say, hey guys, listen, I don't feel good. I need help. I need a hug. I need someone that help me. And I go from college and students and the army and speak with soldiers and speak in the uh, job places, every place that I can go and speak, I tell them about this. Make the others feel it's okay to share. And when you place a tent like this, you tell everybody, hey guys, we see you, it's okay. You can take a little bit break. And if you're here, we know that you need a hug, you need something, you need help. And make it like to be normal, to say, I need help. It will be a normal sentence to say about this.
Yep.
You know what I'm trying to do?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, and we're glad to hear you're recovering from the cancer as well.
Yeah.
So Yossi, turning back to you, Afeka has taken this challenge very seriously and has put real programs in place, such as the Quiet Tent. Can you walk us through what support looks like on the ground and what Afeka College has learned about the initiatives that have been successful?
Okay, so the whole support started before I came into Afeka. So what Afeka did is, first of all, with the help of the Israeli government and the Council of Higher Education, we raised the money. So we raised enough money to start activities. Now, once we had the resources, we had to realize what will be the most effective or the most proactive support. And one issue that we first encountered at the beginning is that how to find the students. So because many students who are post-traumatic, they don't talk about it and they don't like to talk about it. And probably the students who need the largest support don't talk about it. So we created a system that we call the Buddies program. The Buddies program is a group of volunteered students who walk and study with the students, and by talking to all the students in the different units, they identify the students. Of course, not all of them, but a big percentage of them. Now, once we identify the students, with the Dean of Students, we organized several things. So first of all, subsidized psychological care. Then, as I said before, a well-being workshop, both inside and outside the campus. So now we can do the workshops inside the Quiet Tent, and outside the campus, we do different things. And also the Dean of Students partnered with different organizations in Israel, because this issue of post-traumatic soldiers, you can imagine, it was a big issue all over Israel. So we partnered with different organizations in Israel and gave the maximum support that we can. We understood, very important, I want to emphasize that we understood that it's not a single solution. We have to create a different solution for a different student, and we have to learn through the process. This was an evolving challenge. We have to change and to refine our support model along the way.
Thank you. One of the things that makes Afeka's story so compelling is that this is not abstract. These are real students navigating real challenges right now. We're pleased to be joined by one of Afeka's students on this webinar. Omer, thank you for being with us today. To protect Omer's privacy and security, Omer will be keeping his camera off during our conversation. So Omer, could you please tell us a little bit about who you are, what you study at Afeka, and what the past 2 years have actually looked like for you as a student, as a reservist, and as a person?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So my name is Omer. I serve as a combat medic, just like Roi, in the paratroopers. And I also study medical engineering at Afeka. I'm in my third year, which means that I started the degree after October 7th. And since then, I've served for about 350 days across 4 different rounds. Now, I want to say that the reserves are very important to me. I love to be there every time for my friends, my family, and my country. But for me, these past 3 years have felt like an exhausting action horror movie that doesn't want to end. Every call-up came like a jump scare. And the shifts between these two different worlds, every time it was, it were really unhealthy. So this part was tough. And to add that to the difficulty of the courses, sometimes it really broke me. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And when you returned to Afeka's campus, what did that feel like? And in those moments, how did Afeka show up for you and help you?
So I remember how different it was for each time I came back after a long round of reserves. The first time was pure chaos. I remember being completely lost and not knowing where to start. I started to feel anxiety without understanding what it was. Uh, when I went on campus, I remember some angry students who had served shouting for fair rights, and later I understood why. When I went to ask for help at first, the consultant didn't know how to help and even triggered me with horrible bureaucracy that made me feel invisible. But after this experience, I met Anna. She is the head of accessibility section at Afeka. She listened and helped me feel visible and capable of being a student, while at the same time focusing on my new mental health. So after each round, I felt like both me and my college were getting better at handling my return from reserves. But then the day we lost Roi, it really broke my heart. I didn't know him, but when I saw his picture, I felt like he was my brother, like he was me. So I figured that I have to go and be more active to prevent the next tragedy. I also I also felt how Afeka took this seriously and put more focus on our mental health. I remember Anna uh, she arranged weekly meetings for reservists with therapists from Natal, and I took part in most of them. Also, the tent project, it all really helped me.
That's wonderful. And our final question for you, Omer. You are sitting here as a representative of a generation of Israeli students who have had to carry something most people your age around the world will never have to. What would you like people watching today to understand about what that is like?
It's a good question, Elliot. I don't think I'm able to make people fully understand what it's like. I can try. For me, it's a strong feeling of commitment that sometimes makes you feel like a hero with tons of pride and meaning, and some other times makes you feel anxious and depressed. Um, well, at this point, it's crucial for me to say to everyone who's suffering to ask for help. It We saw that sometimes it can be deadly.
Thank you very much, Omer.
Thank
So
you.
we'll now turn to a Q&A session where we will answer audience questions. So the first question is for Yossi. Many colleges around the world are grappling with student mental health, albeit not to the same extent as Israeli students. What lessons do you think institutions around the world could learn from Israel and Afeka's experiences?
Thank you, Elliot. So I think the best thing is awareness, to be aware of the problem, because we were not in the beginning, we were not aware of the degree of the problem. So I think if colleges around the world or universities have similar problems, the best way is to contact us and to talk with us. And actually, we are now thinking about inviting all the representatives of the colleges and universities in Israel to visit the quiet tent and the activities we do to help the post-traumatic cause. So the two central point is awareness and to listen to the students who many times do not want to talk. So to try to talk to the students and to find ways to understand their needs. This is the central issue.
Thank you. And one more question, especially since all of the incredible work with the Quiet Tent, have you seen students at Afeka become more willing to seek mental health support over the past 2 years, or does a certain stigma remain as an obstacle for that?
You were misconnected. Can you repeat the main question?
Yes, so the question was, since the work with the Quiet Tent, have you seen students at Afeka become more willing to seek mental health support over the past few years, or does a stigma remain as an obstacle for that still?
So I don't have the exact statistics, but what I've heard I've talked to Omer yesterday, and he can support this, that Omer told me that many students visit the tent and use the tent. I don't have the numbers, but I think the existence of the tent and the support we are giving made more students confident to talk about the issue and to encounter the dean of students. I have the feeling that the dean of students, and Omer can correct me if I'm wrong, that the dean of students in Afeka is aware of most of the students who need help. This is my impression.
Yeah, thank you. And now a question for you, Tom. What is something people often misunderstand about what returning reservists go through when they come back to a college? And how big is the role that colleges play in reintegrating students to academic life?
You know, it's very difficult to come back to study and come back from the army. And I spoke with a student that told me he was reserved and he was afraid not from the missile in the war area. He was afraid to send his project on time. So they have a lot of stress, not from the war, because you know we are Israeli, we live this like a lot of years. But to come back like a student and to be an engineer student, it's very difficult studies. So they are all the time in the stress, what I am missing, if I can send the project on time or not, and they come back to the college, they don't know what they missed, what they not. So this is also the place of the tent to help them to close the circles, what they missed, what they need to do, what we can help you with the project. We are hear you and we are feel you. You know, it's not like you're nobody.
Thank you. And one more question, Tom, similar to what I asked Yossi, since you have started sharing Roy's story, do you think people have become more comfortable talking about mental health, or do you think there's still improvements that we can see from that?
Yes, of course. In the last year that I speak about Roi in a lot of places, I feel that more and more people feel free to share about this, what they are feeling, and to ask for help. Because when I tell them it's okay what you are feeling, they have more place to share with me or the guys that ask me to come and talk. They feel it's okay. It's okay to talk about the difficulties that they are feeling. It's not something wrong. It's okay and it's normal.
That's great. Thank you. And another question for you, Yossi. Uh, we focused so far a lot on the students at Afeka, but what about the faculty and the staff at Afeka? How has this experience changed the way that Afeka supports the teachers and mentors for Afeka students?
Okay, so I must say that the staff in Afeka was incredibly cooperative, and a lot of them also volunteered to help the students during the first and second year of the war. That means that even beyond the formal lessons, many teachers and higher degree students gave private lessons and private Zoom sessions to help the students. You know, in Israel, everybody felt that we need to help the students. We have to understand that about 42% in the first months of the war, 42% of our students were away, were on reserve, in reserve. So it's almost half the students. So in the first 2 years, many teachers and many faculty just volunteered and give private lessons or lessons in small groups on top of the formal support that we gave.
Thank you. And another question we received is, what would success look like? So, for example, in like 5 years from now, what do you hope will have changed for Israel student reservists because of the work that Afeka is doing today to prioritize mental health?
This is for me, the question?
Yes.
So one very interesting fact is that when we look on the marks of the exam of all the students, we found out that many students who were in combat in Gaza or in Lebanon or in other places, the marks was not less, the exam marks were not less than the regular students. This is two reasons. First, the unique and the wide support that we gave to the students. And the second, it means that a lot of the students who served in combat units were very good students. So in total, the marks of the students who served were not less or even better in some cases than the regular students. We really hope that this situation doesn't come back. I mean, we are now very trained by Zoom and by all the mental health, and we have the bodies program, but we really hope that we will not have to use them again in coming years. We really deserve some quiet years to really have some peace. We really deserve some peace in the region, and I really hope it will happen.
Yes. And another question for you, Tom. In your advocacy work, have you come across any particular story or moment that has stayed with you? Anything that has reminded you why these conversations are so important?
You know, in my first time that I go up and talk about Roi, it was like in a festival. It was like around 5,000 people there. It was my first time that I speak about him. But after I speak like 10 minutes, not so much, I go down and someone hug me and give me a very big hug and tell me, thank you, Tom, that you talk about it. You are speak about it and you are tell other people what we are feel in our head. What we can't tell the world, you speak about this now. So this is I take it with me every day from there, from then, and this is what it's like a fuel for me to go. It's not matter about it's 10 guys or 10,000. I know that when I speak about this, someone here and it can change his life.
Great. And one more question for you, Tom. If you could leave every college leader with one piece of advice about supporting student reservists who return to campus, what would that be?
Uh, to hear them, to take them, speak with them like half an hour and tell them what helped them to come back to the study. One guy will tell you it's how I get the money for the study, and one guy will tell you I don't know what I need to do now. Which project? We just speak with them, give him the place, and tell him thank you. Thank you for your reserve for your days.
Yep, definitely. And one question for both Tom and Yossi. For people watching today, many of whom care deeply about Israel and about Afeka students, what can they actually do to help? What would meaningful support look like for someone who is sitting outside of Israel?
So, if I may, two main things. First, I said it just a minute ago, is awareness, to be aware of the problem and the challenge. And the way you can help us is by partnering with us, whether through philanthropy or by talking to us or by suggesting activity. We would like just to partner with you and to hear you. And so these are the two main things, if I may.
I agree with Yossi about this. And also, I think we can make a lot of things together. We can send students for America and back, and they need a little bit air sometimes. We can do a sharing, a student sharing, and make it normal. Tell them thank you and make it normal to speak about difficult.
Yep, thank you. Tom, Yossi, and Omer, thank you very much. This has been a very meaningful and necessary conversation. The challenges facing Israel student reservists are real and urgent, and as we have heard, Afeka College is committed to meeting them, not as a short-term response, but as a long-term institutional responsibility. If you would like to support this work and stand with Afeka's students during this extraordinarily difficult time, please see the link in the chat and the QR code on your screen. Thank you for being with us today, and we hope you will stay connected with Afeka College and American Friends of Afeka. Thank you.